So, what are some of your tethers? What are some of the things that you're desperately holding on to that you need to let go of before you can significantly grow or move forward from a situation? Stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about exactly that. Hello all, Janae here, also known as the Well-Rounded Black Girl. Thank you so much for watching this video if you are, because I just took a month-long break and didn't announce it. I didn't plan it, for that matter. I thought I was going to be posting videos throughout November, but if any of you saw a few of my last videos, you know that I was participating in what's called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where you try to write a novel of 50,000 words all in the month of November. So 50,000 words in 30 days. And I'll link those videos below where I talk a little bit more about that. I don't want to get too far into that right now. So if all is going according to plan, you are seeing this video on Thursday, December 6th. And so again, I was not able to put up videos during November. I couldn't write and do this at the same time. Hopefully next year that will not be a problem. I'll kind of get into a groove of things, but I'm just excited to be back, be making videos, and I have a story that I'm going to tell you all before I get into like the letting go part, because I just think that it's something that just happened and it illustrates so perfectly some of the points that I'm trying to make. I do want to say though, if we are watching this on December 6th, it is, I think it's called St. Nicholas Day, and it's a day about, assessing the things that you have and really thinking about things that you can give away, things that you can let go of, things that have served their purpose in your life so far, and that maybe won't be serving a purpose moving forward. And so I thought today would be a great day to put up this video talking about what are your tethers, what are you holding on to, what do you need to just kind of let go of to move forward. So before I get started into that, I just want to do a really brief story time. I am trying to be in a good mood right now, but something truly devastating has just happened, and so I think it's a great story for the rest of this video. Basically, as you all know, I was participating in NaNoWriMo, the goal to write 50,000 words in 30 days. Today that I'm filming this is November 29th, and so, a day before the end of November, I was slated, you all, to reach 50,000 words today, a whole day early. It was going to be great. I was going to talk about it actually in this video, as even if I hadn't already finished up to 50K, by the time I filmed this, I was going to talk about how it was going to happen. So, for a variety of different reasons, I had written the last about 20,000 words of my novel outside of my normal writing software. And that software automatically tells the NaNoWriMo website how many words I've written. I needed to get out of a space where word count was so blatant and heavily displayed, and so I was writing elsewhere. And now my computer's died, and no, I did not back up those last 20,000 words. And so, even though I probably will just write another 1,000 words tonight. I have a tablet that I can do that on, just to say that I've written 50,000 words in 30 days. I can't prove it. And I'm so upset, because I wanted to so much. I wanted to be able to talk about how I set my mind to something and won and completed it. I'm not going to win technically, because I won't be able to validate my word count, but I know internally that I've written 50,000 words in 30 days. And so I'm celebrating, but I'm also sad because there's no proof. And to me, this is a perfect example or a perfect lead into what I want to talk about in terms of learning when to let go. So in this case, I feel like I'm needing to let go of some of this disappointment. It's natural, and I'm not going to stop myself from feeling it, but I also don't want to wallow in it, because, the stories from the last 2 years is I'm not good enough, I can't do this, whatever. The story from this year is literally that I need to be better about backing up my work and paying more attention to those types of details. The previous years it was story details. This time it's more like logistical details that have to do with writing but not to do with the actual story, that have tripped me up and are going to kind of keep me from at least being able to present that I won this NaNoWriMo. And so I need to let go of that disappointment because I think I do want to participate next year, and I can't look back on this year and this experience next year and still feel this disappointment and trepidation because it's not going to put me in a positive place for when I want to do this next year. So I just need to let go of this disappointment. So getting back into like kind of the, meat and potatoes of this video, I think a lot of the times when we can't let go of a situation, it's fear-based. Are we afraid of being judged? Maybe we're afraid of being found lacking. Maybe we're afraid, that somebody will reject us. Maybe we are afraid of losing control, or maybe we're afraid of change. Maybe we're afraid of what someone will say about the situation that we're in. Maybe like, why would it take you so long to leave that situation? Or why would you want to leave this situation? It's so great, looking from the outside in. Still, that constant fear of being judged and appraised. Maybe you're afraid of, making a mistake, causing some kind of injury. Or maybe you're just afraid of failure. And we all know how I feel about that. I will link my video on the stories that we tell ourselves down below. But maybe that's something that we're also afraid of. And we just can't let go of this thing we're clinging onto because we're afraid of failing at this next step that we really want to get to. The other thing that I think sometimes people can be afraid of is actually showing their true light. There's a famous quote, and I will butcher it right now if I try to say it verbatim, so I'm just going to put it up here. It's famous. I should know it by heart, whatever, I don't. But I know that the general spirit of it kind of matches this sentiment of, being afraid to really let your light shine, whether that's because you think that people will expect too much from you in the future and you don't know if you can consistently deliver on that type of demand, or whether you're just, afraid of your own potential. It's a hard thing to put into words, but I think a lot of people who feel it understand it, where you're just kind of afraid to push forward because basically that if you really succeed at this thing, everything's going to change, and you don't know if you're ready for that. Again, going back to being afraid of change, and maybe of losing some sort of control. But the thing is, whatever the next step is for you, you might not be able to control every aspect of it, but it is going to contribute to your growth. And so it is important to try and let some of these fears go, all of them really, so that you can get to the point, to the next point in your life, whatever that is. So like I said, there's no real easy way to let go of fear, except to remember that fear is basically really attached to some of these stories that we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves that we're not good enough. We tell ourselves that we're not ready yet. All of these things, we tell ourselves that we're a failure just because we may have failed at something in the past. We equate that one failure to encompass our whole selves. Now we're a failure because we did that one thing that didn't succeed, as opposed to, okay, maybe that thing failed, I'm not a failure. But we tell ourselves these stories, and our fear can be related to the stories that we tell ourselves. So in order to let go of those fears and those feelings of whether they be inadequacy or complacency, whatever that is to identify the story where that feeling is coming from and attack the story. Find areas in your life that negate that story. Make plans that negate that story. And a lot of this is, you plan. A lot of it is very cerebral, but then you have to put action to that plan to make sure that those things actually happen. But really just attacking the stories and ridding yourself of those stories will get rid of the fear that's causing you to keep holding on to a situation that is not what's best for you and is not helping you grow. Now, whether that means you need to start your day with affirmations that directly combat that story that you keep telling yourself, or whether that means you need to look out for and seek out experiences that help you to negate that story, that will put you, an experience that if you succeed, if you do the work and you work hard and you succeed in this experience, that will help to negate the story that you're not good enough or that you always fail, because you will have actual evidence that that's not true. Now, again, that's a lot more than just making a plan. You have to actually put the action behind it. It's not easy. There's nothing about any of this, nothing about learning about yourself, nothing about growing, nothing about, you know, just being a continuous sponge for information, that it doesn't better you unless you put action behind it. I can know all of these things about myself, and I'm learning so much about myself, and I'll get into that in future videos. But what I do with that information, what I do with that knowledge of self is really ultimately what's going to make a difference. I can know, I think I've used this example before, that I'm a fairly impatient person. You know, I've identified that flaw. It's not enough to just identify that flaw. You have to understand it and try to mitigate it. You know what I'm saying? Try and work around it, get it out of your way. It's not enough to just know that I'm impatient. I have to also be working on that for it to matter to anybody else. And I think that's a really important distinction. And I will continue to make that distinction in my videos, just because I think a lot of the time, the action piece, people gloss over it. I know I do a lot. I'm a person that's in my head all the time, and so I gloss over lots of things. But that's not going to be the best way to handle those situations. And the last thing I want to say about this is just to really take into account, really ask yourself the question: are my tethers, are these things, this fear, this complacency, this feeling of inadequacy, all of this, is this worth me, you know, actually achieving my dreams? Like, is it worth me continuing to stay in this story where I'm a failure? Like, I'm comfortable here. I know this story well, and I can tell it, and I can spin it, and I can make it not my fault, and I can make all of the excuses and all of that. Is all of that comfort worth what could be waiting for you on the other side of you stepping out and letting go of all of that and actually, you know, pitching forward to that next step in your life? You don't know. Nobody ever knows. And that's the thing. I think people want certainty. I certainly am someone who wants that, that kind of sure-footedness. But sometimes you don't have it. And sometimes you just have to kind of push and make a way anyway. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, my computer died. If you're watching this on December 6th, or even whether you're watching it then or not, if it posted on December 6th, I somehow made that happen, because not only can I not finish my NaNoWriMo, like without a computer, I don't have anywhere to edit this video or whatever. I guess I could edit it on my phone. I'll have to figure out how to do that if I can't figure out this computer situation. But that's just me. I'm not going to give up just because my computer isn't here. I'm still going to write those last 1,000 words just to prove to myself that I can write 50,000 words in a month. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to, again, figure out a way to get this video up by December 6th. And if that's when it was posted, then you know that that's what I did. I'm not going to let this stop me. You know, I could stop here and say, you know, these types of things always happen to me. I don't know why I thought it was going to be different. Even when I put forth a good effort, you know, the universe is just working against me. I don't believe that's true. I believe that the universe is pushing me to find other ways to keep going, to say that this is something that I want to do, so I'm going to figure out how to get it done, and to show myself that I'm not a failure, that I can push through. And I think that's really important. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this video here. I will have links to relevant videos down below. I have a few articles on learning when to let go, and how to let go. I'm going to post those down below as well as the link to that book, The Dip, just because it's going to probably come up in a few of my future videos. But other than that, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to go and try and figure out this computer situation, because even if I can't finish Nano, whatever, I kind of need the stuff off of my computer. So I'm going to go figure that out. Thank you so much for watching. There will be another video next week. And to everybody who's still here, I say thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.